بدي مي. خليني اجيب مي. Rolling, يلا. Guys, welcome back to another YouTube video for a new build from Oldtimer. Again, a crazy one, like the other builds we've done. We'll walk you through what we've done on this bike. It's probably one of the most extreme builds of its kinds in the world. We'll go part by part. We had so much work going to this bike, there is no way we can cover everything in one video. It took us 4 months of work to complete this. We will give you an idea of what went into this bike. This started as a KTM 300 TPI 2023 model. It came directly from the showroom, brand new, with 0 kilometers on it. And as usual, what we do with any bike is strip it down to the frame. And we started from the core of the bike, and this is where I will start my explanation, is from the engine, because this is one hell of an engine. So the engine basically was a 300 TPI engine. So this is a 2-stroke 300 TPI. We started with a BRC kit. The only component we used from the original engine is the gearbox. Everything else was changed. The case, the crank, the piston, the head, everything changed to make it a 500 2-stroke TBI. If you ride the 2-stroke, you know the power that comes off of a 2-stroke and this explosive power that comes. Imagine this with a 500 2-stroke. And we got a custom built throttle body coupled with that, and we changed it from a TPI to a TBI. So basically now the injection happens directly to the throttle body, and at the same time the oil is being injected to the throttle body. So we have 2 injectors for fuel, 1 injector for oil, all going into the throttle body. And normally with 2-stroke bikes, you need to do a premix oil with fuel. This one, you have a reservoir for the oil, you have your fuel tank, and this is all mixed on the throttle body. I will jump from here, from the engine, into the frame, because this is where we had to alter the frame. Once we disassembled the entire bike, we took the frame out, we had to alter the frame to be able to fit the exhaust. So we had to cut some parts, clear up some parts. We had to take every screw out from the engine, from the frame, perch mounts. This wasn't easy. We had to take every screw out, measure it, and order that screw for that part. I think we've sent 6 or 7 orders, because every now and then we find new bolts that we need, because everything was custom. There are a lot of things that came with bolts that are either stainless steel or aluminum, and we did not want that. So every single bolt has been changed into a titanium bolt from Pro Bolts. To handle all this power, we put a Henson clutch on this, and we ordered a custom built exhaust. It's a handmade custom expansion pipe, ceramic coated, from a company in Canada called Hyuga. And you see, this is the most prominent piece on this bike. It is massive, and we coupled it with a slip-on from FMF. However, we dismantled the slip-on completely, and we anodized all the parts so it goes along the colors we've put on the bike. And the engine itself was vapor blasted and cerakoted in gold color and silver to give it some shine on the inside. Now for the cooling, we went with the original radiators, but we installed a fan on the radiator, and we installed the temperature gauge as well, just to keep the engine cooler with all this power coming out of it. And we cerakoted the radiator in black. Finally, we added a twin air filter for breathing. Now, with all these changes, we had to retune. And to do the tuning, we got a tuner from 2-Stroke Performance, ERM, that controls basically the ignition timing, controls the oiling, and does general tuning. And you can change the tuning on the fly as you're riding. we put the Moto gadget with the ERM monitor, and we changed the entire wiring harness. Every single cable have been changed, marked, because we wanted this as a road legal bike. So we added indicators, we added brake lights, we added everything to it. We used the Moto gadget buttons, they're beautiful controls here. Now with this motoscope, we coupled it with something called the M unit, which controls all the accessories such as the indicator, the high beam, low beam light, and the horn. We rewired the entire bike, and we ran everything through the bars. You will not see a single cable. Everything is running directly through the bars. We used the BRP anti-vibration modules coupled with a Scott's dampener. We adapted the X-trig to fit the BRP clamps with a rental handlebar, and we made a custom mount to fit the motoscope from Moto Gadget and the ERM screen on the handlebar. And we used the ASV perch mounts. With that, we used the CNC carbon fiber reservoir units for the brake oil and the clutch oil, of course coupled with the Brembo levers for brake and clutch. Now with that, for a light, we used the strongest thing we can find that would match what the style we're looking for, and this was a headlight from ET Racing. For indicators, we wanted something that is completely invisible, and the best thing to do this is the Kellerman indicators. So on the front, we went with the Atto indicators, and on the rear, we integrated the indicators into the body and frame. So if you look at it from the rear, you will not even see the indicators. These are the integral Kellerman. They're a triple function indicator, so they're a position light, indicator, and brake at the same time. Now, with all this power coming out of the engine, we need two things. We need control and we need braking. So for the suspension, we went with the Öhlins RXF 48, and we did a full 200 millimeter conversion top to end. We went with the X-trig triple clamps, 200 millimeter. We coupled that with an Öhlins rear shock. Again, this had to go with the bike theme. So we removed the spring, we painted it in blue on the rear. These were custom ordered, the forks were custom ordered, and then once where they're done from Öhlins, we sent them to a specific shop that does a type of coating on the suspension itself, again, to have it in the same color as the bike with the same theme instead of the silver color. So this suspension went into 2 countries before arriving here to Dubai. The suspension, again, was coupled with a 200 millimeter SPS bottoms to have the full 200 millimeter front conversion. And finally, on control and wheels, we went with 17-inch wheels from Falco, and we went into details with every color. The rim is in blue, the hub is in purple, and then every 4 nipples on the spokes is a different color, on the front and on the back. On braking, the rear Brembo caliper stayed as is. The front caliper have been upgraded, and we've put a 320 millimeter brake disc. And we have changed the brake lines into Venhill brake lines for both front and rear brake calipers. Now, for the seat, we got a seat from Seat Concepts, which is comfortable, but we added some stitching to it because it comes completely black. We added some blue and orange custom stitching. Now, when I'm talking we installed this and we installed that, these things don't go direct fit. So everything has been custom made. Custom made brackets, custom made bushings, custom made spacers, everything is custom made. One thing we forgot to mention here, we used these beautiful mirrors from Rizomma. They called the cut edge, and we put them on the inside. We didn't want them on the outside to also keep them as concealed as possible. We ordered these massive foot pegs from Fast Foot Pegs, dampened foot pegs, and we ordered the brake and gear controls from Moose Racing. So this is for the foot controls. Again, we changed the sprocket. We put a Super Sprock aluminum sprocket with an ERV7 520 DID chain. We changed as much as possible panels into carbon fiber. These are panels from CMT Composites from Italy, carbon fiber panels. And we did a paint job here in-house where we did a translucent color on the carbon. So you can still see the carbon wheel, but there is a color on top of it, and it's mixed yellow with orange, with the red and blue. To complement the carbon fiber translucent colors we've done in it, we ordered this custom-made holographic kit from KTM, and it complements the entire colors of the bike, what we've done on the carbon, what we've done on the frame, on the forks and on the handlebar. So I'll show you how to start this bike. You use the Moto Gadget fob, you place it on the body, and the screen turns on. So the second thing is you press the decompression button on the engine. Finally, you press the start button, which is located here. To make this thing even look crazier, the proud owner of this bike gave us a cherry on the top with a number plate that is as eye-catching as this bike. This bike took 4 to 5 months of work. I cannot even remember the number of hours we've put into this bike, but this is honestly something that you won't see every day. We went through all the details we can go through, and this barely scratches the surface of how much details and effort went into this bike. This is probably one of the most complex builds we have ever had, and we're extremely proud of it. Thank you for watching, and join us soon for another crazy old-timer build.